Well, hello everybody, chasing up New Year's Revolution Cave. It's LJN's Revisited, because why not? And it'll be followed by a Power Hour, so look for 2 videos tonight. And yeah, hope everybody's doing well. The live show the other night was fun. I think that was Monday night. And I'd like to do it weekly. I just won't announce when until I'm absolutely sure we're going to do it. But it is going to be a staple of the channel, the live shows. And let this be a lesson for all of you 80s content makers. Get yourselves live. Cassette Phase and 80s Movie Den and Watson and like the Beefer to come back. Collectors Entertainment Network, Smashy Smash. Get yourselves live. We like the live shows. We like to interact. All right, it's LJN Revisited. You know what we do. You know how we do what we do when we do. Beard is finally coming back. I'm looking like a human again. Yeah, we take a look at the greatest toy line of all time, and we talk about it. But we're running down, folks. We're running down. As you can see, we got 2 more shelves to go. And then we will probably do a little bit more. So we'll probably do XOX, just every XOX figure ever made up to this point. We'll do that in one video. We won't do a LJN Revisited XOX version because we've already done that when we show each figure off anyway. So we'll just do one after the next of every XOX figure. Then we're going to do the LJN Slammy Awards. Then we're going to do taking a closer look at the other wrestling figure lines in the same vein as LJN's Revisited. We're going to do Remco's Revisited. We're going to do Galoob's Revisited. And that's about it. All right. So here we go. Here we go at the beginning of the end, sadly. And I would like to get through this entire series without breaking down, because the very last figure that we're going to do is Sergeant Slaughter. I guess that we should have done an 87, but whatever. The beginning of the end, and the beginning of some massive changes in quality, folks. The first figure that we're going to take a look at is Bam Bam Bigelow. That's right. This is a figure that I never had as a kid. I never had Bam Bam Bigelow. Now, I don't dislike this figure at all. I think it's great. I think it captures Bigelow's stocky size. I think even though this is not the best play pose, it's certainly not a bad play pose at all. I don't dislike this figure by any means. And if I could figure out a way to utilize Bam Bam Bigelow, I would have played with him a little bit more when I eventually did have him as a later collector. But I'm sure I would have used him as a kid. I'm sure I would have made him a bad guy. I'm sure I would have teamed him with the One Man Gang or Warlord, or, you know, at the time we only had Demolition Axe. I probably would have teamed him with those guys as a bad guy, but I didn't because I never had him. But here we go with the downfall, and it pains me to even talk like that about the greatest toy line in the history of toys. But for whatever reason, and we don't have confirmation. I don't know if there's a conversation out there with former LJN employees. I don't know if the big LJN collector's book that was out several years ago, that an excerpt from me, a quote from me, is in the book. I don't know if they ever talked about why this happened in 88. Why did this happen in 88? These are still LJN. These are not stamped Grand Toys yet. 1988, for whatever reason, we have black, I don't know what to call it, undertone, underpainting, undercarriage, undergarment. I'm not sure what to call it. But as the figure comes out of production and it's non-painted, it's black instead of fleshy, tone. It's got gray or black before it's painted, which with the LJNs, they lose their paint. And when the LJNs lose their paint, you can see the black, fleshy tone color base. Let's call it a base. You can see the black base coming through on the knuckles. Now, what that tells me, folks, is, well, how would we explain this? That the previous LJNs, was their flesh tone painted? Was their flesh painted? Because you never lost flesh paint on a figure like you do here. You lose it on the knuckles, you lose it on the nose, you lose it all over. So that's telling me that somebody like Cowboy Bob Orton's flesh is just the way the figure came out, right, of production. They didn't necessarily paint the flesh because there's no paint to chip off, right? Does that make sense? I suppose, right? Kamala came out of the kiln already brown. So there's no brown flesh paint color. There's just brown base. So there's no chipping, but there's chipping here. So that tells me that we've got a black figure that was then painted flesh color. Makes sense. I don't know. I don't make figures. I'm not sure. But this is unfortunate because you played the heck out of your LJNs, and your LJNs would absolutely lose paint often onto their opponent. So, but what we were used to was that if your opponent had white boots and you were laying the boots to your figure, there would be white boot marks all over the figure, right? So we're used to that. This is that kind of in reverse, right? You're beating up your Bam Bam Bigelow figure, and you're actually chipping away at the flesh-colored exterior, exposing the black interior base. I think I've got it. And again, that's unfortunate because this was the first time that you really saw your figures damaged, because for some reason we could cope as children with white boot marks all over our figure, or yellow boot marks, or whatever. But this was never acceptable to me, to have a figure that's destroyed. And if you look on eBay, mine are okay. All of mine are okay. There's some blemishes on Slick and on One Man Gang, but in comparison to some that were heavily played with, they're destroyed. Like Honky Tonk Man has like an all blue face. Well, you said black base. Yeah, I know. For some reason, Honky Tonk Man has a blue base. Right? I'm guessing the outfit, but regardless. So this would really destroy the figures, and it would give them a very bad look. And I didn't like it. I think it really, really takes away from the figure. I'll cope with a figure that has paint marks on it all day. I can't cope with a figure that's face is peeling off. So, Bam Bam Bigelow, never had him. I think it's a great figure. I'd like to get some play with Bam Bam Bigelow, but we'll see. Never met him. Never cared much for him, to be honest with you. Didn't care much for Bam Bam Bigelow. I never was really overly convinced that Bam Bam Bigelow was a threat, probably because he was so short. And yes, big and stocky and strong, but short. And I think his feud with Andre was one of the silliest feuds. They had a very brief feud, Andre and Bam Bam Bigelow, and it just didn't do anything. I think he could have been a better bad guy. He'd been a bad guy other times throughout his career, and I think it worked out better. I don't know where he thrived, if he did. I don't know where Bam Bam Bigelow excelled. Was it his run in ECW? Was it NWA, WCW, Bam Bam Bigelow? Was it the multiple different times he was in WWF? I never really cared at all, one way or the other, for Bam Bam Bigelow at all. So that's about it. That's all I have to say about Bam Bam Bigelow. But there he is. Good looking figure. Good looking figure. I'd like to have a match, make him part of some kind of story or federation if I get it going again, if PACW gets off the ground. But there you go. Let's take a closer look at him, including the very impressive for LJN 1988 tattoos on Bigelow's head. Let's go ahead and look at that right now. All right, kids, you know what we do. It's we take a look here first at our custom LJN stands from 4 Left 3D Creations. That's right, the only way, the greatest way to, the greatest way and the only way. Or maybe I'll just say the only way. And if it's the only way, then it's most likely the greatest way to store, to stand, to display your LJN figures, including Bam Bam Bigelow, this impressive stand. Go to Etsy, 4 Left 3D Creations, and get your custom LJN stands today. And here he is, the beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow, Crusher Yurkov from the WCCW days. Crusher Yurkov. I just love that name, Yurkov. What a Yurkov, right? That's great. You can see Kerry Von Erich coming up with that one. Let's call him Yurkov. Okay, great. There he is, Bam Bam Bigelow. Classic WWF debut outfit, the fiery suit. That's good. That's good. Here you can really see the problem with these figures is the black base coming through on his knuckles, on his nose. We got the missing tooth. I like that detail. Squinty eye. That's cool. Beard. Let's take a look at the back of the Bammer. Nothing on the back, all black. And I don't know if that's just a cheap out by LJN or a cost cutting, or if Bigelow didn't have fire on the back. I think he did. I think Bam Bam Bigelow actually had fire on both sides, but we get all black, and I didn't care as a kid. Of course I didn't care. Collectors today would be outraged about that. Those kids on WrestlingFigs.com in those forums would literally lose sleep over the fact that Bam Bam Bigelow doesn't have flame on the back of his outfit. But there you go. There he is, Bam Bam Bigelow. Figure's fine. I like the figure. I think it's a good figure. I never had him as a kid, but again, like I said, this is the downfall, the beginning of the end of LJN, as they used a black base that came through very easily once your figures got a little battle worn. And but overall, good looking face, good looking beard, good looking tooth missing there. Good figure. Good figure. Would have been played with a lot as a kid if I had him, but didn't. So we have to play with him now as an adult. Bam Bam Bigelow, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow or next week, I keep saying tomorrow, it's actually next week, we'll take a look at the Doctor of Style, the Slickster, ladies and gentlemen. And he has the odd paint wear also, which I can't understand, because who used Slick as anything other than just standing there? But we shall see as we look at Slick next. See you then. Good night now.